Right now, the old playbook for growing a software company, it's completely broken. Customer acquisition costs are surging, traditional paid ads are just failing, and those massive growth numbers from a few years ago are pretty much disappearing. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive shift happening right now in the software world, something every founder and go-to-market leader absolutely needs to see. If you're trying to figure out how top companies are retaining users, slashing those acquisition costs, and building impenetrable moats in today's market, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The 2026 SaaS Crisis, the End of Easy Growth.
So why are SaaS paid ads failing in 2026?
Look, if you feel like your marketing budget is just evaporating while your overall growth stalls to an average of maybe 18%, you're definitely not alone. It used to be that you could reliably pump money into digital channels and just watch the leads roll in. But now, we really need to ask what's actually breaking here. Why is that old, reliable demand generation engine suddenly sputtering out and leaving so many companies stranded?
Well, the root of the problem comes down to one number: $1,200. That staggering figure is the new median customer acquisition cost. Think about that. When you're spending that much just to get a single user through the door, the unit economics of a standard software business just completely shatter. It takes months, sometimes literally years, just to break even on that one user. It's exactly why the old playbook of buying your users through massive brute force ad spend is totally unsustainable now. The whole growth at all costs era? Yeah, it's officially over.
It's essentially a massive squeeze. On one side of the equation, we have these surging acquisition costs. Since 2019, Google ads are up 164% and LinkedIn ads are up 89%. It is harder and way more expensive than ever to buy attention. But then, on the other side, we have what industry experts are calling the 100% NRR trap. This is a tricky situation where you might be keeping 100% of your revenue from existing users, which, sounds great on paper, but those massive acquisition costs are entirely eating up your profit margins. Baseline growth is dropping across the board, and a massive 35% of companies are actually seeing year-over-year declines. Basically, companies are paying exponentially more money for a rapidly shrinking slice of the pie.
Section 2. Rise of Platform Ecosystems, the Pivot to Trusted Channels.
To survive this, the smartest companies in the room are pivoting, and this quote from Scott Brinker, the founder of Chief Martech, hits the nail on the head. He says, "Suite solutions really need to give way to platform ecosystems." That perfectly captures our 2026 reality. Buyers don't want rigid, monolithic suite solutions anymore that force them to compromise on features. They want a core center of gravity, a flexible foundation. Think of how a company might use a massive CRM as their core operational hub, and then they just seamlessly connect dozens of hyper-specialized marketing, sales, or finance tools right into it. They want an ecosystem of tools they already use and love, all working together perfectly.
And the data totally backs up this shift in how pipeline is actually being generated today. Paid acquisition has dropped 3 points, down to 26% of the pipeline, while partner and channel ecosystems have reliably grown to represent 11% of all sourced pipeline. Now, organic search is also slightly up to 27%, but that migration away from expensive paid ads and toward trusted collaborative partner channels is absolutely undeniable at this point. Companies are leaning heavily on the trust that other platforms have already built with the user.
Section 3. The Partnership Pyramid, Structuring Ecosystem Growth.
So how do you actually build this? Well, effective growth doesn't rely on just one single partnership model. It ascends step by step up what we call the partnership pyramid. At the base, you've got affiliates and referrals. These efficiently capture high-intent demand at a much lower cost. Think industry bloggers, influencers, or your loyal customers acting as champions. Step 2 is resellers, which are often specialized agencies, adding commercial leverage by bundling your product with their services. Step 3 introduces product partnerships for those deep technical integrations between non-competing software. And finally, right at the peak, we have strategic alliances. This is where you align long-term business goals between major platforms to create massive, market-defining authority.
Right at the core of that pyramid are product integrations. This is where the magic really happens. When your product seamlessly connects with the tools your ideal customer profile already uses every day, it transforms your software from an isolated, easily cut expense into an indispensable, sticky part of their workflow. Plus, it makes your tool highly visible right at the point of user intent. When a user is trying to solve a specific problem inside their main software, your tool pops up as a native option to help them exactly when they need it most.
Section 4. Cloud Marketplaces and APIs, the New Acquisition Frontier.
Get this, by 2027, an unbelievable
40% of all software revenue will flow directly through cloud marketplaces like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. This is where modern procurement is happening. And here's why it's such a game changer. Enterprise companies have already prepaid millions of dollars to these cloud providers. So for them, buying your software through that marketplace feels kind of like spending free money. It bypasses the CFO's desk entirely and speeds up the deal immensely. Seriously, if you aren't on the shelf, you're missing out on massive revenue.
If you need proof that this isn't just some passing trend for small startups looking for a quick boost, look no further than Snowflake. In 2026, they quietly crossed $7 billion in lifetime AWS marketplace sales. $7 billion. Let that sink in. They leveraged this exact ecosystem channel to generate billions of dollars, completely bypassing those traditional, friction-heavy enterprise sales cycles. They just went exactly where the buyers already had budget ready to deploy.
Of course, to play in this arena, your architecture has to be ready. That's why a massive 74% of professionals now describe their organizations as strictly API first. What that means is their software is built from day one to natively talk to other software. APIs are quite literally the fundamental building blocks of modern cloud platforms. If you aren't API first, you can't integrate, and if you can't integrate seamlessly into these workflows, you simply can't partner effectively.
Finally, Section 5, the integration moat, defending against churn.
These ecosystem partnerships do way more than just lower your acquisition costs. They basically build a fortress around your customer base. You're capturing high-intent users actively searching for compatible solutions. You get to borrow built-in credibility from trusted ecosystems. You unlock seamless upsell opportunities. And maybe most importantly right now, you mitigate what experts are calling the AI churn wave. We are entering a phase where basic software features can be easily replicated and replaced by AI. By embedding your tool deeply into complex multi-platform workflows, you drastically increase those switching costs. You make it incredibly painful for users to ever rip you out and leave. The absolute proof here is in the financials. Companies that nail their integration and ecosystem strategies are driving net revenue retention rates well above the 106% median. Enterprise accounts sit at 118%, and top performers are reaching 130% and beyond. Think about what that actually means for a second. A company with 130% NRR is growing their revenue by 30% year over year without acquiring a single new customer. They're scaling super efficiently by growing within their existing, highly integrated customer base rather than bleeding capital on paid ads.
I want to leave you with a provocative thought to challenge your roadmap today. Take a really hard look at your product. Is your software just a standalone tool, or is it an ecosystem operating engine? Because the data is crystal clear. In today's market, if you aren't an ecosystem engine deeply woven into broader platforms, you are simply going to be left behind. Thanks for exploring this critical shift with me here on The Explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.